Okay, Kevin here, and we talked about we were building in a pandemic situation, so we're having some unique issues that go along with just regular old building. We're out here on the property. We're in our little tiny house here in the woods, and we showed you kind of the layout last time, and now we're down to getting into our electrical. We got ourselves shelled in. We're inside. We're trying to stay warm. We have 20 amps of power available right now, which is basically just the outlet that we put on our meter box outside where our 200 amp service is. And so we have an extension cord running down from there into the building through the window, so we can have light and power and heat. And so we're trying to keep the building warm enough to work in. And we're starting to work on the power next, which is after you've framed and shelled everything in, we want to get power in, because then we can insulate and then we can cover walls. And so that's where we're at. So where do you start with electrical? In our situation, what we decided to do was bring 50 amps of service into this building from our 200 amp panel over there about 50 feet away. And so what we're doing is we put a sub panel in. You always have to bring your power in through another sub panel. So we have a 200 amp panel out there, and then we're bringing this panel in. This is actually a 100 amp sub panel. That's the breaker, the main breaker. So we're going to feed into that, but we're only bringing 50 amps in. So we're going to lug into this, and then so from the other panel we're going to have a 50 amp breaker. So we're going to feed it into this main 100 amp, but it means that, it allows 100 amps, but we're only putting 50 in. From there we're going to be putting in some 20 amp circuits that this will feed these into this panel, and then we're going to break up our circuits around the tiny house here.
So how many are we going to have?
We're going to have four. We decided we have four, sorry, separate 20 amp circuits, and that's so two more of these. And so the first thing you need to do, obviously we put the sub panel in here, but then we want to go around and say, okay, where do we want to have an outlet, where do we want to have a switch, and where do we want to have any lighting that's going to be inside here. Well, you can plug a lamp in to any outlet and have lighting, but we wanted some permanent lighting in here as well. So that's what we had to decide what we wanted to put it. Okay, so our layout, again, we're at our front door here, and this is a 12 by 16 building, and then we have a loft upstairs which is 12 by 8. Okay, so roughly 288 square feet ish. And so we decided what we needed. So we're going to have, you have to kind of think about your load, what you're going to be using in here for electrical. So we know that we have, our biggest load is going to be our heat, which is going to be electric heaters, and so those are going to take a fair amount of power. And right now we've got two 1500 watt electric heaters on one 20 amp circuit, and they're fine. And we have a couple of lights, and you know, but these don't take much power. These are LED lighting. They put a lot of light out there. You don't take hardly any power, so that works out real good. So you're thinking about, I've got 50 amps of service here that I can break up around the building, and so I got to think about the circuits, the 4 circuits that I wanted to put in, and how I'm going to distribute my load. So I know if I have a heater on one circuit, that's a big part of the load for that circuit, so I don't want to have a lot of other heavy load users on that circuit, or we may overload the circuit and trip the breaker. Another big amp user, which is not going to be constant duty, would be like a microwave. So we've got a microwave here that we're going to be putting in the house, and that, when that's on, that pulls a lot of wattage. And so if I had that on and I had an electric heater on the same circuit, I could pop the breaker potentially, and I don't want to do that. So that's going to be on a different circuit from the heat circuit. Okay. Now the other outlets are going to just be for devices like plugging in your laptop or your phone, so they don't pull much power. We might have, we're going to have a TV in here, so that again doesn't pull a lot of power, but I got to think about that. And then one of the things I don't want to do is, Anise is going to make her office over here, and she's going to have a computer, and I don't want anything heavy loaded on that circuit either, because what if she's right in the middle of doing something in her computer and she's got some some applications open and the power pops, we could lose data, and we don't want to do that. So we're being careful of what we load onto that circuit too because of that. And then let's walk over here. We're going to be in the kitchen now. You can almost fall over and hit the kitchen from the living room, right? So we're going to put a little refrigerator right here, and we're going to put this outlet up here is going to be for our microwave, which is either going to sit on top of the refrigerator or sit on a shelf above the refrigerator. We haven't decided yet. We'll figure that out. Part of that is, you know, being able to reach it.
Right, because I'm a little short.
Yeah, I can reach up here, not so much for Anissa. So I got an outlet here for my microwave. I got an outlet here for my refrigerator. Now, we're not exactly doing code because this is just a little tiny house. Otherwise you'd have to have a ton of extra circuits in here and all kinds of stuff that we're not going to do. But I want to make sure that I've isolated my refrigerator because that's going to be running all the time. I don't want to pop that breaker and lose all my food, right? Normally I wouldn't want, if you were in a house, you would have that by itself. That would be on its own circuit all by itself, a little 15 amp circuit, nothing else on it. That way you never have anything overloading that circuit and losing, you know, your power to your fridge while you're not here. I'm probably going to go ahead and put that on this circuit because the only time we're going to be using the microwave is obviously if we're standing here using it. So if it did pop the circuit, we would know and we'd be able to reset the circuit. So we're crowding that a little bit. But the microwave's not going to be running while we're gone, so we don't have to worry about the refrigerator.
And we don't have a full-size refrigerator that we're putting in either.
Yeah, it's going to be a
smaller one.
Little 10, I think it's 10 cubic foot, little bitty guy like they do in most every other country. We don't have, everybody thinks we have to have 30 cubic foot refrigerators in this country so we can keep 47 jars of mustard and mayonnaise. Now our counter for our kitchen is going to start right next door to the refrigerator here, and it's going to be in this corner. Again, tiny houses, if you're going to do kitchens, the great thing about that is if you put them against the wall, then you're not taking up a lot of space. You know, you have this open floor plan. You don't feel like you're getting restricted in here or constricted because you got an island out here or you know, something that's cutting the room off. We want to kind of stay open. Feels more spacious that way. So we're going to have a counter here going all the way around the wall and probably up to here. So wraps around these areas.
And here is the back wall of the bathroom.
Right, so this is the only other room in the house is this little bathroom that we've got, and it's 4x6. And we have a kitty. So we have two outlets here, and so normally you'd have at the bare minimum 2 separate circuits in your kitchen just on the countertop because we have a lot of little countertop appliances these days, and so we usually have 2 20 amp circuits at a bare minimum here. We're going to have one because we don't need all that, and we'll probably have a toaster oven would be about the only countertop appliance in our kitchen. We're not putting in a stove. We decided not to because again it takes up precious space that we could use for counter. We're just going to have a countertop cook plate that we can put on the counter when we want to use it and put it away when we don't, so it's not taking up permanent space. And then our little toaster oven. So we got an oven, we got a microwave, and we got a counter and a cooktop. So that'll get the job done in here.
So the only other thing we're going to add in the kitchen down here is going to be the 2.5 gallon hot water on demand.
Yeah. So we got a little hot water on demand. This guy. And I think we're going to put him over here in the corner. Once we get this opened up, we'll kind of decide. And part of the reason is we'll have a sink, we'll have our hot water, and we'll have our shower all in one spot right here. We've already roughed in the waste plumbing right here, which is just gray water. We're not going to have a toilet on that. It's just we're going to do a composter. So we've stubbed that out the wall. We've got it worked into the shower pan already, and then we're stubbed out right here so that we can connect to our sink, and that's about all there is to it. We want to keep our plumbing, since these are all outside walls, we don't want plumbing in this outside wall because we live in the land of frozen weather, which is, what was it, 18 degrees last night. That's not going to be a good place to put plumbing. That's a good place to get frozen plumbing and break pipes. We are going to bring our plumbing in over here. and then we're going to bring it around inside under the cabinetry and up into the sink. We're going to connect to the hot water, and we're going to have a shower valve that'll be in this inside wall. So that's the only thing we're going to put in the wall per se, and that'll keep all our plumbing very tight and clustered. We don't have a lot of that to worry about, and we can keep it right here where we can keep an eye on it and make sure it stays well inside the heat envelope of the building.
All right, you have to pet her. She has been following your hand the entire time we've been filming, wanting a pet.
My studio assistant. And so anyway, then in our bathroom circuit, so we got our kitchen. Our bathroom circuit is going to be an outlet, a switch, and a light. That's it. So we're going to have an outlet over here, which is going to be basically where we're going to have a little bit of a counter and a mirror. So if you can get in here and do your beauty thing after you use your shower. So we got our composting toilet right here. And we have our overhead light in here. And again, this is a 4 foot by 6 foot space. We're going to have about a 2 foot door. Do we decide if we're going to swing out with the door? Is that going to make it better?
I don't know what we decided.
We have to decide whether we want to swing out, which would give us a little more room so we don't have to try to swing a door in here because it's pretty tight. I think we're going to swing it out that way. That way we can step in without crowding ourselves with the door. Like, you know, like public restrooms where you try to open the door in and sneak around it, bumping into the toilet, try to shut the door, and they don't have any room. Let's not do that. This is our ventilation for our bathroom because we're, you know, a shower is going to put out steam and we don't have a vent fan, which would normally be a code thing. So we're going to be able to crack this window and let that wet air out. That's what we want to do here. And then we can step back into the living room. And this wall, this will be where our TV is going to be. So we put an outlet up here so it'll be right behind the television. It's going to be hanging on the wall right here. We got an outlet down there. That's probably where we're going to plug the heater in. Electric heater right there. And then I put an outlet here, and the couch is going to sit right here so we can sit down facing our TV. We'll have an outlet on either side here, so if we want to plug in devices like our laptops, our phones, whatever, we can do that. A light, maybe a little table lamp or something. And then there'll be an outlet for outside, which is going to go in the wall right over here. We haven't nailed that on because we got to cut a hole still. So we're going to have a GFCI outside outlet. So that'll probably be the dead end of our run on this circuit. Because once that's GFCI'd, if we ran anything past that and that popped, it's going to stop everything in that circuit beyond that outlet. So we want to make that our last one. Eventually that'll give us a cord to run outside to do any kind of outside activities that need power here. And then up here we haven't constructed this yet, but we're going to put a little 2 foot shelf 2 feet out all the way across here. It's going to be a plant shelf. We got a bunch of plants. We were trying to figure out where we're going to put them. I put an outlet up there so we could plug in a light to put light on the plants. And then till we go back over to the corner here, we're going to have 2 outside. I guess we show that. This is a different circuit. We're going to have a inside light right here for Anissa's office desk. We're going to put an outside light right up here, facing out here, so we've got illumination as we come up to the door. We're going to have an additional outside light over here because we want a floodlight on a timer or a motion light so that we can light up this side of the house at night, because it is very dark out here. There are no lighting out here besides stars at night. So it is very dark. Okay. Let's go take a look at the bedroom. We'll show you that circuit. Welcome to the boudoir. This is our upstairs little loft, hideaway, secret hideout, whatever you want to call it. Everything you always wanted when you were a kid, but now I'm 57 and I got it. So a little delayed, but here I am. So again, this space is about, what do we figure out, 5 foot?
It's just over, it's 5 foot, probably about 5'4". I'm 5'3" and I can stand up.
Yeah, you can stand up in here. I'm not going to.
If I'm in the very center, I can stand up.
Right, so if I stand up, it's kind of like, hi. So I'm not going to be doing a lot of that. I'll be a lot of crouching, but that's why I'm sitting in my window. Very important to have ventilation and light up here because heat rises. This is going to be the warmest part of the house always. And so in the wintertime, that's probably nice because all that heat's coming up here and warming it up. In the summertime, not so nice because again, all the heat's going to be up here. So this window being right here will be really nice. Be able to pop it open. Plus we got some natural light in here. This is sort of facing southwest, I guess.
Yes.
South is that way. Anyway, so our power up here is very minimal. We're sleeping up here. We have an outlet on either side. The bed's going to be right here in the middle, the head of the bed, and this is roughly about 11 by 8. Okay, plenty of room. We're going to have a little queen size bed up here. We'll probably put a piece of carpet up here, and then an outlet on either side of the bed, just to have a little table side lamp. And plug in our phones at night to keep them charged, whatever. That's about it. We're not really needing a lot of power up here.
Well, we're going to do an extra plug over here just in case.
That outlet's there. We're undecided about whether we're going to put partial wall right here at the front. And we thought about if we did that, we might put a TV up here, but that allows us to have a fan, right. You know, whatever. Not a lot of high power draw up here. And so this circuit's going to be on the same circuit as the kitchen because we don't really have a lot of heavy usage for power up here. There's not much amperage getting used up here. A couple lights and a couple outlets for charging phones and laptops, whatever. So that's it up here. So I'm going to hop back down to the rest of the house and we'll review our 4 circuits again. Okay, so to recap, we have our 4 circuits that we went around, decided where do we want outlets, where do we want switches, where do we want lights. After we decided all that, we decided, okay, now how are we going to break these up into the circuits based on the loads that we're putting on these circuits so that we balance the loads out so we don't have any overloading and breaking, tripping breakers. We don't want to do that. And we're working with 50 amps. And just as a frame of reference, 50 amps is what most RVs have these days. If you were to buy a big RV today or a motorhome or something, that's what, those are what run 50 amps. They used to run 30, but now they got all this other stuff in them, so they think they have to have 50 amps. So 50 amps is a lot of power. 20 amps is a lot of power, but 50 amps is a lot of power. You're not going to use all 50 amps at once. And again, that's by design that we break those circuits up appropriately so we're not overloading, right? So our first breaker, or our first circuit, is our office. We got a light and an outlet. We got our outside light up here. We got our outlet up here for our plant light. And we got another outlet, or another light rather, over here for outside. So we have 3 switches that we're running those on. We got a switch so we got a triple switch box right here. And I think we're going to run one of these was for the kitchen light, right?
Yes.
So we're going to have a kitchen light, a office light, and the outside light out of this box. Our second circuit is going to be the bathroom, living room. So we have very little power going into the bathroom. Remember we got an outlet, a switch, and an overhead light. That's it. That's very little. And the most that's going to happen in there is you got a hair dryer or a curling iron or something like that, electric toothbrush. So we don't have a lot of power need in there, nothing heavy draw. In our living room, we've got our TV. We're going to put our heater down here, and then we got a couple outlets for devices by where we're going to sit, and that's all there is there. Our third circuit is going to be the kitchen and the bedroom, which is going to be these 2 outlets. We're going to have our hot water tank on this circuit, and then we're going to go upstairs to our 3 outlets up there, which are just for a couple of lights and plugging in phones. So that's not a lot of power draw here. Most power we're going to have over here is going to be maybe the toaster oven. So that's our heavy user right there. Our fourth circuit is just going to be the refrigerator and the microwave, and the big user here is the microwave. It's going to pull the most power of the two. Refrigerator needs to stay on all the time. Microwave's only going to be used when we're standing here, so we're not going to worry about overloading this circuit because we'll be standing here, and that's 20 amps. Not gonna happen. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to start routing for our 4 circuits, and what we want to bear in mind here is we're always having to bring our power out of here first and then go over to our circuits. So for instance, the simple circuit here is going to be, we come out of here, we go over that, and then we go down there and we're done. We got 1 circuit. That's just a short circuit. So 2 wires, one coming out of here to there, one going down to there. Our circuit's done. We're going to have to go through 1, 2, 3, 4 of the wall studs, and then we drop. Done. Okay. Next circuit, we're going to come out. We got to go down to this outlet down here. We got to come over and pick up this outlet, and then we got to get to our lights, and then but we're going to have to come through our switch to our lights. So we're going to come there, back down to here, and then from here we go out to the 3 lights so that we get power to them. So that's not too bad of a circuit right there to run. Our other circuit, we're going to have to decide which route we want to go to come over, say for the bathroom and the living room, so we can pick all these up. We always want to dead end into a switch, or like for instance we got a GFCI outlet right here. That'd be our last thing on the run, because that beyond that we're gonna trip breakers if that goes off. So we want to make that our last one. Okay, so I don't want to get too carried away here. I know that's probably hard to follow, so we're just kind of giving you an idea, but we're going to get into the actual doing of it so you can see how they run. We'll be making up the outlets and the switches and so forth, so you'll see that. So we'll wrap it up for now. Our next video, we're actually going to start poking holes and pulling wires, so stay tuned, subscribe so you don't miss a video, and we'll see you on the next one.